Welcome to this episode of Face Islam, the program dealing with the problems and issues that Muslims face every day, everywhere. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk in particular about a subject which is called Hadathah or Asri. This refers to something it's modern, the latest and the greatest, as they say. And with that in mind, let us consider that there could be good as well as bad along with it. There are those who say that Islam is old-fashioned and needs to be, well, updated to get the latest version, so to speak. You know, the 7.0, it's coming out. But the fact is that Islam really is for all times and all places and all people. Otherwise, you would have to come up with another religion, because Allah said in the Quran, Al-Yawmu akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum Islam ad-dina. And here in chapter 5, verse 3, Allah has made it clear to us that on this day, and that was one of the last of the verses of the Quran that was revealed, and He said, on this day, I have perfected for you your way of life, and conferred upon you my greatest of favors. And I've chosen for you to submit and surrender in peace to me, Islam. This is how we understand the meaning in the Arabic to the English. So because He said it's complete, He said it's perfected, then it doesn't need to be revived. It doesn't need to be updated. So it's not Islam that's the problem. In fact, it is those who try to follow Islam in different time periods. So the people 1,000 years after Muhammad, peace be upon him, they had a different situation, and they needed someone to come and sit with them and help them to understand. That's where the fatawa or fatwa came from, the rulings. Now, you might know that we've already had programs on that subject, but in today's program we want to talk about one particular issue, and that's what these people, the scholars today, are dealing with here in these modern times that we find ourselves in. Now, there is something in Islam that calls for us to look at Islam, look at the Quran, read these hadith, keep it alive in your lives. But how do I do that when I want to travel on a subway? They didn't have subways at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And speaking of subways, hey, there's a restaurant called Subway too, isn't there? Yeah, and they sell food. Can I eat there? Oh, that's another issue. Maybe they sell pork. Maybe I can't go in there. Some places, talking about food, they sell alcohol. I don't drink it, but can I go in there and get my food? Oh, what's the ruling on that? I don't know. Can I even park my car in their parking lot? Can I go to work for them? Can I deliver food for them as long as I don't touch the ham or the alcohol? So these are the questions people keep coming up with it every day, every day, every day. And that's the modern time we live in, and that's why we need modern scholars, meaning scholars who understand the modern issues and then can take it back to the Quran and take it back to the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam without any deviation away from the actual text itself. How we understand something is one issue, but to eliminate it and say it doesn't apply anymore or consider it abrogated at this time, this is not acceptable in Islam. Because if you did that, if you listen to that, then you have violated the very essence of what Allah said when He said, Al-Yawmu akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum Islam ad-dina. Very clear in our minds. Allah perfected it. It's complete. Doesn't need me to change it. It needs me to look at it and see what I can change about me or my environment that I'm in so that I can apply Islam in today's world. I'm driving a long way to work. Oh my God, it's taking me an hour and a half to get to work. Now I want to know, am I a musafir? Can I shorten my prayers? Can I combine them together? Because actually, I'm driving maybe 80, 90 miles, round trip. So does that qualify me to be the traveler or no? It's a good question. And then in some cases, the jobs that we have today, I can't get a break at the time of Salah. Then what can I do? Can I delay the Salah? Can I combine the Salah if there's some kind of a difficulty going on here? I don't know. I need to talk to a scholar who knows what is the ahwal, what is the condition of the people. Because if he understands, he's been there, done that, been through it himself, and he knows Islam, knows the Quran, knows the Hadith, and he can think and say, hold on guys, you know what? We've got a Hadith that says right here that if you do this and do that, we can apply that right now to this and solve your problem. Thank you very much. That's it. So that's how we would understand being a modern scholar. But now on the other side of the coin, what about someone who come along and said, well, you know, back in those days, you know, they didn't have electricity, so they didn't have refrigerators, and, you know, the reason the pork is haram, the khanzir is haram, because it caused a disease. But today, you know, we've overcome that. You don't get any disease from it, so it's okay. If you want to eat it, not saying you have to, but if you want to eat it, I don't see a problem with it. That's not the kind of modern that we need. Because then he's actually going against very clear verses that say, don't do that. Also, dealing with the subject of interest or riba. And we've talked about that in other programs. If somebody said, oh, back then, you know, but today we've got these big houses and we've got the big cars and we've got the big obligations, and if I don't borrow money at the bank, where can I get it? We don't have Beit al-Mal anymore. We don't have the Caliphate state, you know, Islamic state. So, gosh darn, I guess I need to go ahead and find somebody to give me a fatwa, a ruling, says I can do all this stuff. So we go to a modern scholar, so-called, and we find that he said, hey, ma fi mushkila, no problem, go for it. Nah, but it needs a lot more examination. We don't want to be modern to the extent that we throw away our religion or compromise it, but rather that we want to stay fast on the real deen of Islam based on the Quran and the Sunnah and the Arabic language. That's Islam, and that's Face Islam.